Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to the Alchemist and the Oracle, space where we engage in spiritualized conversations that deepen understanding, inspire transformation, and hopefully spark meaningful dialogue about life's most profound truths. So I am joined with my co-host, Warrioress, Ardeshir, the Alchemist, and I am Nicole Love, the Oracle. Welcome to our channel. Welcome back to those that are subscribed, and if you're new, welcome. We hope you will enjoy today's conversation. So with that, we are building upon our previous episode where we are talking about the 4 agreements. So be sure to go watch that other episode after you watch this one so you can really get into the 4 agreements as they all speak in a different way. But today we're having a conversation, a discussion around the 2nd agreement, which is don't take anything personally. So my lovely co-host, Warrioress Ardeshir, she's going to be guiding this conversation, and I'm along for the ride.
All right. Hi, everybody. How you doing? Yes. This Warrioress Ardeshir here. I'm going to begin with posing a question, and then I'm going to pull something from our book, The 4 Agreements, and go from there and really get vulnerable with you and humble myself in reference to this book. Here it is, and you can see all the tabs I have.
Oh yeah, 4 agreements. Say the author's name as well.
No, I apologize. Yes, this is by Don Miguel
Ruiz.
Don Miguel Ruiz.
Ruiz.
That's his full name. Don Miguel Ruiz. The 4 Agreements. Powerful.
Hey, this is completely off topic, but I'm just curious. Do you know if the author is still living?
Actually,
I know that's super random.
Don't.
I was just curious.
I don't, but it's easy to find out.
Yeah, I didn't know if you had that tidbit of information.
Normally, I do that. But I didn't do that this time in reference to him. I believe.
You know what?
Find out.
I'll do my due diligence on my side.
You can do that due diligence, and I'll continue. So this is a question that I have over here that I'd like to pose to you. Think about the last time you took something personally, and how did it affect your emotions and actions? All right. So with that being said, I'm going to read an excerpt out of here because it looks like that all the agreements that follow really piggyback off of being impeccable with your word. So the one thing that I highlighted here was nothing other people do is because of you. That's one key. It is because of themselves. All people live in their own dream, because he talks about the dream. And if you read in the beginning of the book, it's let me go back here. Excuse me for a moment, y'all. Which is not the introduction, but the domestic in the dream of a planet, which is deep as in and of yourself. When you get the book, that will just hit you and is right before you get into the 4 agreements. And so I'll probably be hitting off of that because of the domestication, and I'm undomesticating myself from the world. That all people live in their own dream, in their own mind. They are in completely different world from the one we live in. When we take something personally, we make assumptions that they know what is in our world, and we try to impose our world onto theirs. So let's begin there. And I can probably begin with examples of that because we think people know what we're thinking. And that's not true. So coming from a place or from an era that most people don't know about, which was a certain generation being said, be seen and not be heard, when you're not able to really speak your piece, you think that people that you're around in this know what's going on in your head because you really can't articulate what you're saying. And so, we make assumptions that people know what's in our brain or or what we're saying or how we go about it, which will come into one of the other ones, our next one, which is, communication and clarity. So with that being said, when we take something personally, we're making assumptions, which is obviously a part of one of the agreements. So I say for myself, when there was a time when I thought people kind of knew what was in my head, and made an assumption that they did, and they didn't, because I really couldn't articulate what I really wanted to say, because I had been quieted. And that's an unfortunate thing. So one of my great skills became a observer. So I had to have deep conversations with one of my best dudes, in a state where I lived for many, 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 many years. And this came up, but it didn't hit me till I revisited again to come to you how deep not taking anything personally means. And we have to realize, and it comes back to, you'll probably hear me say it again, God bless Iyanla Vanzant, is what is not true about you, what's not true about me, I can't let it live on me. So sometimes when people say certain things to us, we take them personally because there's something going on within us that has not been addressed. And we take the opinions of the world and the domestication of the world as our own. And there's some other things that I highlighted, that some things that people say are trying to send a poison to us. And I go here, and the first quote I had is at the bottom of page 48. And this is just so deep. What people say, what they do, the opinions they give according to the agreements that they have in their own minds. And so that's something that we have to understand, is why I posed that question to you earlier, of think about the last time you took something personally and how did it affect your emotions and actions. And I have a couple of examples of my own, and it has to do with disrespect. So I've had certain ways that have been said to me that have made me act in such a way that was not conducive to me, that were not true. And so when you react, is that there's something that you believe that is true when it's not true about you. And when you have someone who disrespects you or says something that is not true, and you react in a certain way, sometimes we get loud, or we holler, or react, or as I say, somebody going from 0 to 60, which I'm not the person to go 0 from 60. What is that that's going on with you that someone said that you took personally that made you react from 0 to 60 to them? So this is one of the ones that also is another one to help alleviate the agreements that we have inside. It says taking things personally makes you a prey to these predators. So it makes you open to what they say and become a belief. And so when people say things that are untrue, you have to understand it's not about you. It's about them. So as we were talking about speaking impeccable with your word, they kind of intertwine with one another. So this was a deep one, because I took a lot of things personally, because I also came an area that people that were older than me, or people in certain positions, what they said were gold then, but that was not true. And so we live our lives based off the domestication and opinions of how we've come up from careers, military, and having that. And there's a certain structure that needs to happen, especially in that arena. But to be and choose to be your authentic self, you can't take things personally, because you have that bump that comes, that means there's something that lies, something that does not go with your natural essence. And you have to become aware of that. So yeah, this is a deep subject. I mean, I have the book so tagged because it's that deep. It's a poisonous to you to take certain things personally that are not true. We shouldn't take anything anybody, even when somebody says you are beautiful. If you know this is our beautiful, you don't need to take it personally. It's like, well, thank you, and you keep it moving. Things in that nature. Any take on you so far what I said, my darling Oracle?
I was listening to you talk, and it immediately made me think of the ego, and how
Oh, yes.
it's like the ego in action, essentially, especially with like, don't take anything personally. There's this, like, I have this immediate reminder of like, oh, it's the ego in action, acting up. So
Yes.
that's kind of like where my mind went as well. So with you being the alchemist, and really like, I feel like your life's work is like helping people navigate the ego, and learning to like really alchemize that, the purpose of the ego.
Yes. Yes.
What's like the connection that you can make, like the ego, from your studying and awareness of the ego, and how it shows up and is acting out in the way of you taking it personally? I know you
Well,
posed me a question, but I just threw it back on you.
oh, that's fine. Yeah, the ego wants to be that part of you wants to be seen. It wants to be that forefront. It wants to be right all the time. So in the essence of not taking things personally, ego is that we do. So somebody was like to tell you, you ain't good at that. And then the ego will be like, well, yes, I am. Yes, I am. You can't tell me nothing, and, you'll have certain people that you come up when you're having conversation, like someone that I know, I won't get to any biblical stuff, but,
Why not?
well, so for example, okay, so I had to choose, and I chose not to take this personally, because I know what I know about how I receive the Creator.
Mm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I say Mother, Father, God. This person had a problem with Mother because they just preach it. They have this, and I'm like, well, how is this any different? So you want to talk about Yeshua? I love Yeshua. I love the name Yeshua over Jesus, because that's Yeshua's real name. That's Yeshua's authentic name. So, Mother, Father, God. And then there's like, no, 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 no. And I'm like, what's wrong with that? Well, Jesus, Jesus. I'm like, okay. What's the difference me talking about Father, then you got the Son, then you got the Holy Spirit, but me saying Mother, Father, God, what you have a problem with? I'm talking about the Supreme Being. So I definitely have them come to hit me and want to get in. They can't hurt me with scripture, because you just can't. Not anymore, because I know who I am and whose I am. And
Oh, you mean the Bible? Throwing the Bible back at you?
yeah, yeah, especially if
Yeah.
you're gay. Yeah. Or now that's the only word I would use, because I don't like labels, and I don't like using labels on other people, but you use whatever you want that works for you. So yeah, so they'll throw, certain things off that wasn't in the original writings if you get to the Hebrew writings. And there's a lot of missing books. So no
That
heat, no
part.
judgment.
That
That part.
part.
So love the Bible, have nothing to do with religion. We're talking about the spirituality of it. Love you all. Just get the message. And the message is that. So I chose not to take it personally, because I knew what I was speaking about, still talking about the Supreme Being, and through Yeshua and the Holy Spirit. So, sometimes I think there's something about me that like to mess with them. And I
wait.
I don't be trying to. And so
Oh, okay.
I love,
So what I
yes.
hear you saying is that you trigger something within them. You move something within them, right?
Yeah, and when they came back or come back, the whole thing is that when they come back with this and they're trying to put off when we're talking about the same thing, and I just said I'm saying it differently, but you are that I'm not saying Yeshua in this about Yeshua, but yes, through the supreme being, Yeshua came. So
Oh my God,
yeah,
the
it's just something.
semantics.
So
The
there was a time where I
semantics.
used to, yeah, the semantics. So I chose not to take it personally because I stayed in my essence and I knew what I was expressing and saying, and we were just having a general conversation because God is always going to come up. And I choose to say God because I define God for me, not for how the world is. And I know that certain things that's happening in the church with other people because I know, personally. Okay. So, I love my mama, who's Catholic, but she wasn't hard for I love her and I miss her in body, but she's still very much present. So, and I still go to and I get fed how I need to be fed, love to be around people and they love me. So I couldn't take the things that said person because I knew what I knew to be true about me and how I was speaking. So, so I cannot be hurt, which I have been before or allowed it to be, not knowing what I didn't know, being culturalized or domesticated the way I had been domesticated, but still knew deep down within me certain things that didn't resonate with me.
Right.
And so, you know, understanding that certain things are set up where people put themselves in positions that seem that they're better than you, like certain titles, certain positions. And so people say, well, not unless you be able to do this and that, you can't be here, you can't be there. It's just like level marketing, but I know so much more. So just because I don't have a group of people that I build don't mean that I don't have something to share with other people. So you have to learn how to not take certain things personally that people say, because if you know what you have to offer, then that's huge. And there's so many excerpts in the book that I put through in case it should never be. It says, when you take things personally, then you feel offended. And that's the ego will feel offended. And your reaction is to defend your beliefs and create conflicts. This is on page 50. You make something big out of something so little because you have the need to be right and make everybody else wrong. That's the ego too.
Yeah.
Okay. You also try to be right by giving them your own opinions. I try not to do that anymore. And in the same way, whatever you feel and do is just a projection of your own personal dream and a reflection of the own agreements that you have agreed with. And those are the agreements that don't serve you, that you want to undo based upon your domestication. And that's when you have to become aware and understand when the ego is playing into that role. And that's a perfect example of it. And I put true, this is something in some cases, but this should never be. So when you respond in such a way to something that somebody said, there's an agreement that you made to yourself that needs to be undone. If not, then you wouldn't react. Like I didn't react like I would have react before, knowing what I know.
Right.
And that somebody can't put some scripture or some other thing upon me to make me feel that I'm less than or that I'm going to hell. The hell is the chaos that we have in our minds that keep us into suffering. The stuff that you see going on in the world is that. The heavens is when you have peace from within, when you don't take things personally, then you don't have that hell within your mind. Because people tell me, well, I'm not saved, I'm not this, I'm going to hell. I'm saying we're already living in it. We live it in here in our minds. When I see people walking around and they're sad and they're into and they have let life take them. So one of my quotes, and this is mine, is to start living life. And that means getting rid of all this stuff that doesn't belong, the chaos that you have, the negativity, the poison that's within. Start living life and stop letting life live you. And I see a lot of people letting life live them instead of them living life.
Yeah.
Thriving instead of surviving. Yeah. So, just so deep. And he also gets into something when he says somebody says them. And so when you're saying stuff, and he says that I'm saying something to you and you said it's hurting you, is the wounds that we have within. And I wrote down deep. It says somebody may tell me, hey, Miguel, you are saying something that is hurting me. But it's not what I'm saying that's hurting you, is that the wounds that you have been, that I've touched with inside. And that's happened. That's happened to a lot of us. Me personally, it's like something that's deep that's going on. So what you saying hurt me, and something hurt me not unless I'm believing something that's deep within inside. There's no way that I can take this personally, he says, because it's not about what he said, that I'm telling you that you hurt me. That is not something that I can take. It's something that I've said that has hit you in a place that needs to be addressed. So, and you know, you have to know that. And so when you notice yourself reacting to a certain situation, you have to look and find out why am I reacting, or why was I about to go there with somebody. It's just like driving. We all sharing the road. If somebody's in a hurry to get somewhere, then they're going to be frustrated because you're not going fast enough. They'll know about that. Like my examples of driving, which means there's somewhere that you have not been impeccable with your word, because it's like being late. They say color people time. Well, I don't know that we should really have that time.
What does that even mean?
I know, right?
I get my black card taken away all the time when I get into that debate. But go ahead.
It's like, oh my God, this is crazy.
I know what it
Not
means.
cool.
That ties back to slavery. It's like it's like a silent whistle of activation of disempowering thought.
And so, you know, you can't take that personally, and you have to know that that ain't true about you. It's just being impeccable word. Most people who are in a hurry have not left on time. They haven't been impeccable about what they do. And this year is definitely for me about being impeccable with my word and not taking anything personally. Because I don't deserve it. You don't deserve it. It's a hell that you don't want. It's a hell that it does not serve your highest good. You know, in your mind, the chaos that we have going on, the things that we accept as not true about the essence of us. That's how we take, you know, these things personally. If it ain't true about you, don't let it live on you, as Yama says, Van Zandt. And so that's huge. And yeah, that quote of hers I think is my quote of the year.
I see you say it all the time. But hey, what can empower you will inspire you. So
yes,
embrace it and allow it to support you in that way.
Yes, I have to understand too, personally, I think not everybody is going to receive the message. And that's something that I know I am in breaking through now to talk about this too. But I've been having struggles, IG app. So,
do your best, be impeccable with your word there. Be impeccable with your word. How do we reframe that?
We reframe that
you're capable of figuring out new things.
I'm capable of figuring out how to get that to work for me so I can be more present. One of my other things is yours to be more present and to understand not to take anything personally if don't nobody receive my message
Don't
the
throw your
way.
phone and yell at the people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
know that it's okay. Know that it's okay. It's like they say, if when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Just like, spirit, God, source creator, my ancestors, and they don't understand this other, some people don't understand the other essence of other than the written text. And that's just unfortunate to not tap into the spirit of yourself. Had brought, I brought our teacher. I mean, to have this close relationship with Alana Van Zandt is amazing. And some of the other people that I have met in this transformation study to be able to speak here um, and be in conversation with you and speak here to our audience in such a way that I don't believe could have happened. I mean, I've always been the level-headed person, I've told, and it's just because I didn't get stuff. And a part of my essence is like, why people do this? Why people do this? Da 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 da. I just didn't understand as a young child why people do certain stuff to each other. And so I understand more now, and I was able to speak some things, but on the level that I believe the creator, my soul, wants me to share with the world. So that's kind of what's up. So yeah. So, and not taking anything personally can bring you a whole bunch of peace.
Gosh, that's so true. That's so true. I was looking at the Four Agreements actually has a website,
Mm,
and
mm.
there was a question that was posed, and Don Miguel Ruiz, he actually answered it, and I thought I would kind of share that. So the question
Wonderful.
is, how do I stop taking things personally? My feelings get hurt easily when I feel I am being harshly criticized or teased by my coworkers. The reason why I want to share this is
Mm, mm.
I I've been there, experienced that. I think that's such a powerful question and awareness.
Yes.
His answer is quite interesting.
Okay,
He
let me write some.
says, I'll share the link for you to look
Okay.
at it. And I'll
Yeah, but
also
I
provide the
got
link.
something to share. Uh-huh.
I'll also provide the link to what I'm reading for those that want to kind of go a little bit deeper, because I
Uh-huh.
doubt I'll read the entire thing. But he says the way we stop taking things personally is by practice. But we also need to understand why we don't have to take things personally. We need to understand that we are dreaming all the time. We create our own story and we live in the story that we create. But
Mm-hmm.
everybody around us does exactly the same thing. They create their own story and they live in their story. Other people think that they know us just as we think that we know them. But this is not true. We really don't know them and they really don't know us. When somebody talks about you, they are talking about a secondary character in their story who represents you. They are talking about an image they create for you. That image has nothing to do with you. It's just a projection of that person's story. If you take it personally, if you agree and believe what others say, their story becomes a part of your story.
Yes.
If you don't take it personally, the opinions of others do not affect you. And this helps you to avoid a lot of suffering and conflict. Once you understand that the opinions, the beliefs, and the point of view other people use to see the world has nothing to do with you, then you no longer even try not to take anything personally. This awareness makes you immune to what other people think about you, and what's more important, it makes you immune to what you think about yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's what I love, just kind of breaking down this. I love how he gave the reminder that everyone is in a story. we're in a dream state, and it's like we have our reality essentially. And based on the story that we tell ourselves that we're living out in our life, other people become these characters in our story. And what he's saying is why it's important to not take it personal is that he's reminding you that you have the capacity to create your own story, live your own life. You don't have to agree to how you fit into someone's story and how they're living their life out. So I think I like how he kind of breaks that down and reminder that we all have a story that we're living out, and people serve as characters that make sense for us within our story, within our life. But you don't take it personal. That's their story. Remember your story is what he's saying.
I just watched a movie last night. Might have something to do with it, and how even a parent poses what they believe that they think, especially if you have a reverend preacher, what your life should look like and be like. So this story, I believe, is about the baseball player. He ended up playing for 4 years, but he had a function. I think his name is Ricky Hill. I think I looked up Ricky Hill and watched this movie about him and how his father was adamant because of his and of course everybody wants to have the perfect child, the perfect this, and anything other than that they're trying to protect you and all these kind of things. And he had this spinal type of this challenge, had been embraced as this and that, but baseball was his dream. And to you want to see, it's on Netflix. It's called The Heel. And obviously this reverend father was just like, he can't play, he can't do this and his other dream. And he knew the Bible so well, the young child that grew into an adult, and thought that he would take up his and be the preacher. But you can also do that and still understand that God has gifted you with something else. Source, creator, whoever you choose to call the supreme being, whoever that you know is your higher power. And it got to this place where he kept going on, so he couldn't take what his father, and how his father was ending up telling him certain things. And I'm sitting there listening that this is the perfect conversation of things that he couldn't be or do because of A, B, and C. And I'm like, you got this man in this capacity saying this to the child. So the child did not receive it. Ricky did not receive it very well. I think I got the first name right. If I don't, apologize. And his due diligence to not take what was being said to him, and knew the essence of what it was. And there's an episode that he came in to his father with scripture and how he was being taught, and the question that his father posed to him, and he chose both. He chose baseball and God. And so it was so moving. The whole thing was so moving of how he continued to move forward. One of the guys he met on the baseball field called him all kind of names because he had the braces on, but he could still swing this bat. So he had to go on. His brother was a great supporting cast to him. And so we have to also, he also talks about even the opinions we have about ourselves are not necessarily true. I have some examples. The one, hair and basic training, is why I have to write about the hair thing. And somebody told me, you'd be treated better if you did something with your hair. It's like, what was wrong with my hair? I couldn't keep it. I had a cold wave at the time, but I couldn't keep it like that. So I had a beautiful fro. I actually graduated basic training with my hat and my fro. And it always had been an issue for me for years, about it being this way and that way, and being a woman having this. And I had long hair. It just looks different. Each woman has their own different look on how long longevity is in their hair. And so somebody can say something about my hair, and I don't take it personally anymore. I know that I had an issue, like you said, the alchemist and how I transform. And we'll get into a couple of things that I know to be true about me that I didn't sit in, including the diagnosis I had with alopecia. So I love wearing my hats, but I don't have it on today. And I'm so grateful for that, because we do have a stigma about how we present, how we look in the world. My other one was not to take something personally. It's somebody coming up here and talking about what kind of underwear you should wear and what kind of underwear you shouldn't wear, and what their way they think of what you should wear and how they're wearing. It's like, why do you care what I wear? And going to tie it to something that it shouldn't be tied to, other than the nature of what I am. Woman, we've done so many things that we have done and been totally uncomfortable. So so you can't take those things personally. Even stuff we tell ourselves aren't true. Because some of the stuff that we have come from a place of either our youth.
It always
and we still
comes back
have
to that.
Yeah.
It always goes back to childhood.
And we have to undo that. So that self-talk, we have to change the self-talk in our mind, because some of the self-talk we have about ourselves are not true. And so we can't take them personally. We have to undo those agreements. So these first two agreements, be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, is so huge to freedom. And I realize I have some agreement going on in my head that I have to continue to free myself from. So I can truly, truly essence, no matter what age you are, you continue to transform and continue to understand the basicsness of this. I remember, for example, you want to talk about alchemy? You want to talk about how I take nothing personally? I was told that I would be on a healer for the rest of my life. Well, I ain't believe that. I said, okay, I hear you, but that ain't happening. I don't know how it's not going to happen, but that ain't happening. And I'm not on one. I've been diagnosed with asthma, this and that. I don't sit in that. This is another thing that I was told to do that probably be IG is I don't sit in diagnosis. I love going and being checked out. I love my doctor for that. I can't sit in that. The nature of my being just can't sit in that. How I grew up, the doctor I had, we had little bit of things. It was like, go play, eat an apple, when the apple of a day really mattered. They ain't the same apples. Trust me, they did work. And and the thing that I'll talk about with my hair, the things about my body, 24 hours, I did not sin. I didn't know how it wasn't going to happen, but I knew that it would, and that I just wouldn't sit in that, or I would not be living in body. You would have not met me, my girl. I mean, and people think that's arrogance. No, it's not. It's something that I can't even explain to you. That's just the nature of my essence, the nature for longevity in life. So somebody told me, said, your soul just desires to live. Can I say? So what was saying to me, I couldn't take certain things personally because it did not resonate with me. There's other things that I'm still alleviate the childhood stuff, the limiting beliefs, all that other stuff. And they're going just having this conversation right now.
Yay. Good. That's good. I hope it's helping those that are listening too.
Yes, for sure. That's the purpose of being here.
So I know a lot of times we can hear, and so some people may be kind of like overwhelmed, like, oh, there's 4 agreements. Oh my gosh. Like I gotta try to embody all of them. Right. I just want to pause and ask yourself which one resonates with me, which one, and, the one that irritates you, you're like, ooh, that's the one you need to lean into.
Yes. Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure.
But,
just like the title of Major's book, Get Over It.
Yeah, you didn't like that title.
I had a book. I scanned the book, but that title still has messed with me.
Why? What was it that you felt personally attacked about when it came to the title?
I think it was at the time that book came out, and I found out about it because a cousin actually met her here in town before I met her, Hey. I'm like a
Oh
kid. I
my
tell you.
god,
So that's why
you're such a fangirl. It's hilarious. It's so funny
I
watching.
ain't never been
It's
there
so
like
funny
that.
watching people like fangirl over her when we were going through the process because
I don't. I'm just so
anyway,
touched. I just
anyway,
don't.
go. That's the offline conversation. You were
Yeah, we
saying,
gon' we gonna have one of those. We gonna have several of those for y'all. So stay tuned, y'all. So
no,
I
we're
think it
not.
was at the time.
You got to pay at that level to access that content.
Yeah, that's gonna be some serious content. Um, was my I don't know if it was it couldn't have been 19. I don't know if it was 18. I have to go back when she came and she was here. I don't know if it was Akron or wherever she was. Um, and it wasn't a good year, probably a year or just over a year or so. I think I just got back from Greece or something. And
Oh, she just
I'm
got back
dealing
from Greece. Oh my god!
with
She
days
just
in Greece.
casually mentioned that I had just gotten back from Greece and
I mean,
being on my yacht.
oh my
Oh
God. And my mother hadn't been
my god!
long past, it'd been a year or something. That's why I had to figure out when the book came out. I forgot because I have it over here and I reference in
Because
the
she was
other
traveling
thing.
the world, she couldn't remember.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
rolling. And I think what was going on in my world was like, get over it. What you mean, get over it? And she's actually mentioned that about her book, and I agreed that the
She
title
did.
was off. Was off putting, just period, until you open it. And I will read truly dive into it. I know
Oh,
it's a good book for you though. So it was off putting. That's the word. And at the time in my life, as much as I handle stuff, and I know my goddaughter thought I was a rock star because my mother crossed over beside me overnight. Her mother has since crossed, and we were all there when it happened to see her leave body. But just, couldn't take it personally. I took that personally.
you really did. You felt like she was like in your face
Yeah.
telling you get over. But it goes back to what we were kind of talking about in Be
Mm-hmm.
Impeccable with Your Word about how people tell you like, well, you just need to get over it, right? Because
Yeah.
it dishonors your where you are and that you feel maybe a bit overwhelmed, or it's just like, what do you mean? Why are you telling me to get over it? Like, I'm in the
Mm-hmm.
mud trying to breathe and you're telling me to get over it. So
Yeah, that.
it's
That.
all okay.
It is.
That's so funny that you were just like, but I think we all have had moments where people say things and it sets us off,
Yeah.
and it can be the
Yeah.
most innocent thing and we just take it so personal, and it's an indication that there's something within us that there's a story being that's playing out, and you having that experience is in conflict of that story. And
Indeed.
whenever you have such a visceral response, it's your soul saying, hey, you know that story that's kind of maybe going on that you may not be aware of, that's subconsciously playing out?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should take this wonderful opportunity that's been gifted by you being pissed off by Iyanla Vanzant's book title, Get Over It, and sit with what it is that you're not even acknowledging is right in front of you, that you're having a challenge in getting over with.
Yeah. 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 That ain't how I received it then.
But you got
Yeah.
over it though. Clearly.
Yes. That's why.
That's
And
your
trust
best,
me.
that's your
So
bestie now. Y'all are
I
besties.
know. I mean, my ancestors and God was just like, I mean, I had done a vision board, everything, never believed it. I mean, there's a part of the essence that believe me come true. Whether I believed it or not, they chose who was supposed to be present during this time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they've told me I've always been a warrior. I don't use that term loosely. People use it loosely. being a
It's
spiritual warrior is
literally
even deeper.
it's in your astrology chart.
Mm-hmm.
It's
And they came and they
literally
said,
in your
you've
chart.
always been this warrior. He was always. And so I can't go back. And so them choosing that she would be it. And then, of course, I'm tired of Dean and Tony's now to come out here. But the whole purpose of calling spiritual warriors, like I said, I had a rejection letter and acceptance letter, was to help to alleviate the suffering in the world, and not saying that we suffering. People look at the word suffering different. They think it's physical. I've dealt with a whole bunch of physical stuff, so excuse the term, but it is what it is. So and that is, and then there's the other suffering that we're talking about here, these agreements that we have. So here's something that I wanted to read from 56 and 57. It says, don't take anything personally, because by taking things personally, it sets you up to suffer for nothing. Humans are addicted to suffering. And I said this before I even got back to this, is that we have got this suffering at different levels and to different degrees. And we support each other in maintaining these addictions. That's why I can't sit in certain stuff. It just said humans agree to help each other suffer.
It's the story.
And it said if you have a need, the abuse stuff is just like one woman, like in the movie last night. In the movie, because I was eating.
The Hill? Is that the name of the movie? The Hill?
The Hill. And you'll see where women, and something happened, and she said, oh, it was my fault. It's my fault that you got it's your fault that you got a black eye? That's a no. That's a no. That's okay because of what you seem to believe in yourself that you actually took personally.
You know what would be really challenging if like to push back on that? How could someone not take that experience of someone hitting them personal? How do you not take that personally?
That's a good question.
I've put you on the spot there.
No, that's a good question. No, it's been taught to sit, reflect before you speak. That's a good question. I'm actually visualizing her at the front door right now and her saying that.
I asked because I know that that's what ignites something in women who come from domestic violence, where they're just like, no more. I'm done. That was the last time that you hit me.
Yes, it's a hard time not to take it because something be prior to that or in the relationship or even getting with them is something that she had already agreed with within her that had come from somewhere before. And eventually, I believe in the movie, because of the child, the girlfriend, wasn't really girlfriend of Ricky, they eventually got out till you get to a point that sometimes women don't get to and they end up losing their lives, unfortunately.
Yeah.
To understand that problem is his, and then they say, well, I did something wrong. Or in this other movie with oh my God, she's been on my IG. She's played oh, I got her in my face. Where she's played a mother with oh my God, our back brother, his head, he now goes bald.
What does she play?
She's played
tell me about the movie. Maybe it'll come that way. Is it a movie or is it a series?
Yeah, there's movies. These are movies, and I'm trying to think of the black brother that I got and him and Gabrielle Union have played in a lot of movies together, and this person played his mother. But anyway, you'll have a woman. Okay, let's go to a Tyler Perry movie. This is a perfect example.
The Family That Prays.
Nope, not that one. The Family Reunion. Family Reunion, baby. Family Reunion. The one of the woman who his mother is forcing her to marry this dude.
Yeah. Oh, the guy that's abusive.
And then she comes up, what did you do? what did you do? What did she do to make him hit her?
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Did the mother know that there was physical abuse in the relationship?
Oh yeah,
because it
yeah, but
wasn't.
she was all about the money and him and
I
being
assume she
supported.
knew, but she just didn't care. She's like, you do
She
what you
didn't
need
care
to
because it was
do.
about her. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was about her and her marrying into somebody who had some money.
Mm-hmm.
So it could continue supporting her life through her daughter.
Yeah, that relationship was
And
really
then
toxic.
she,
What's the
she
name?
dismissed the
What's the
other
name of
daughter.
that movie? Because I'm trying to like keep track of everything we say to like list it. What was Family Reunion?
Yeah, Medea's. I think Medea's family reunion.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure that was it.
I'll find it.
That one's been out for a while. Yeah, it's Medea's family reunion when they all get
I
together.
remember that one because isn't that the one with the scene where there's like people hanging from the ceiling from when they're like at the wedding venue?
Yes.
Oh!
Yes. That wedding was off the chain. So yes, that was it.
I
And
wouldn't
our
want that
girl,
wedding.
she's since crossed over.
Cicely
So she's
Tyson.
my aunt Cicely Tyson. Yep, Cicely Tyson. I didn't get to meet her. God. So yeah.
You
So
have
she's an
met her.
ancestor. Well, I have. Yeah, she's around. She's around. So, and I mean, things that she said, but that movie is a perfect example of that and the abuse and the suffering, because it says if you have the need to be abused, you will find a way to be abused by others. That's what you believe, that's okay with you. This whole thing was so deep. Yeah, this page 57 gets into that really, really deeply. Wherever you go, you find people lying to you as your wellness grows. They're so deep. So you have to understand what is not true about your essence. Um, and you won't be taking things personally, as this says, and this is a huge one. And I know that a part of majority of my life I did. I did. Not purposefully, not willingly, but came a part of what other people said to be this way and that way and to be structured. And it was totally against my authentic self.
I found a passage in my journal that
You did.
focused on um, not taking anything personal. So this is my journal from the spiritual warrior training that I went through. And
Questions.
every day we had to, in the morning, we were asked to pick one of the 4 agreements to focus on. And at the night, in the evening time, we would reflect on how we honored that agreement or what have you. So
yeah, correct. Yeah.
So I'm reading this to show you the power and the impact of journaling and having an awareness around how you show up in agreements. So
that's right. We talked about that. Yeah.
I'm going to read it. So it says, I honored my chosen agreement to not take anything personal, which allowed me to be kind and loving to my boyfriend. When I felt myself getting annoyed, I took myself out of it and received something unexpected and was then challenged to not take his lack of response personally, reminded that he is working on getting his own life aligned. So that reflection just kind of highlighted how I recognized that I was taking things personally. I was like, oh, I'm not going to take anything personal. But then it was, I was immediately also annoyed by his response.
Or his non-response?
His response. Like I wanted a different response.
Oh, okay.
So,
right.
I will tell you, my relationship with my boyfriend has been the most challenging relationship of my entire life because it has gifted me the opportunity to reparent myself and to see how I show up as this wounded child in my relationship with him. Because one thing Iyanla Vanzant says is that in every situation, we either show up as the child or the parent. Remember that?
I remember it now. Yes, I haven't heard that in a minute. Yes.
And when she said that
yes.
instantly like shifted how I am in relationship with my partner and also with myself and other people. And I think this really ties in wonderfully to don't take anything personally. If you're able to really kind of pause and reflect and ask yourself, okay, am I showing up as the child, or is the person in front of me showing up as the child and I am being called to be the parent? Or maybe I am in some way, whatever way, I am showing up in their story. Because remember, Ruiz talks about we're all in this story. I show up in their storyline as the parent. But I just always remember her saying that, and that has been the biggest shift in how I'm able to hold myself comfortably and be vulnerable in my relationship with him. Is that reminder of, am I the child? Am I in the child mode, or am I in the parent mode right now?
Yes. All right. Yes, indeed. Yeah.
I can't remember
that brought up
what
some
that
stuff.
was from. She used to do these spirit. Is
it the global community connection?
It was the one that she did on another platform. She did it monthly, and oh man, it was like not sanctuary, but it was like the one where you go in, and I can't remember what she called it, but it was really focused on like spa. It was something spa.
Oh, her spa she did. Yeah, I have all. Yeah, I need to get back to them. I purchased all them. Oh my goodness, I got the book. Yep. I can't go.
Those episodes are gold.
Yeah. Yeah,
They're really gold because she
did them for 6 months in 2000. Did she do them in 2020? She did them in 2021.
Yeah,
I think they're still available for purchase. So we'll have to
shout out. we're an unofficial affiliate.
Yeah, I guess we are. Oh my God, it's over here. I'd have to go get it.
Don't go off.
I'm not going. I'm not going.
But you can give me.
I caught myself.
Give me the book title, and I'll put it down in the description box. Guess what?
Okay.
We're towards the end. We have like 3 minutes.
Yeah. All right. This was awesome.
Time went by quick.
I know.
But there's
let me see. I got a couple other questions.
You covered so much in such a short period of time. So I just have to shout you out for that.
Thank you.
So I kind of sense, I would encourage people, go back and re-listen to this one again. All of them. Go back and listen to them again, because they're very layered, and as you were kind of alluding to, they're interconnected, and it's up to you to kind of discern the interconnection in a way that you recognize how it plays out in the story in your life.
Yes.
What are your other questions, though? Let's get your questions in, because I like questions.
I got 2 other that I have to present. It's like to our audience, what strategies do you use to remind yourself that that other actions are more about them than about you?
Ooh.
So you want to think about that. I'll say it again. What strategy do you use to remind yourself that others' actions are more about them than about you?
Ooh. What strategies do you use? I know
I have decided my awareness now more so is understanding certain things, even about a certain family members or certain people that I understand the ego aspect that shows up present, that I have to be more aware of. And I know that something else that got to me recently, when I know that I had done something and someone else took and said they had done it, when I knew the truth, and that hit me, and then I was called a liar. And I responded, and I caught myself and realized, and then had to go back, that it ain't true about you. I know the truth, and that's okay. And they took over that particular space, but it's all good. And then some other things that I realized that happen when someone disrespects me, and I'm no longer tolerating it. But
You're
I have to
not taking
understand,
it personal anymore.
I'm not taking it personal anymore. And so a couple of things came out, in the months before the year, that I realized there was still something lingering. And so the awareness of that is my key in the moment. Even though I did respond, I catch myself, I am human. So I really had thought I was inhuman, but I am human, just because of how I've had to walk in this world. And I don't have to walk that way anymore. So there are several things that I've learned, and that my essence, or my awareness, or my lack of being in my ego has helped me to catch that. And the ego is there to protect us in different things, but if you understand what we spoke about in the essence of it before, understanding where it serves and where it doesn't serve is how you also have even more peace, because you don't have to defend anything, in the essence of yourself. So there are several strategies and then to be able to sit with it and to recognize it, and for most people to be able to journal with it is another key thing too. So when it shows up again, you'll be like, aha, aha, not today,
Okay.
not today.
What's the
As our
second
son said,
question?
I posed the first one was to have people think about the last time they took some person, how it affect their emotions. That was the first one at the beginning.
Okay.
And the last one is, how might your life change if you stop taking things personally?
Ooh, we're gonna leave that there because I want to know what people have to say about
I do.
all of the questions, but I'm really interested in that last question for sure.
Yes, 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 yes.
I wrote this down. I want to read it. It says, you are only responsible for your own behavior and choices, not how others react to them. I
Right.
saw that, and it really connected into how do you start to unpack not taking things personally. It's like taking your power back.
Indeed. Indeed.
That was good. That was a good one. I'm biased though, but
I just finally got it's been on my wall. My friend said I had it, but the depth of that now is so deeper, because it didn't get like, okay, don't take things personally. You got to get into the depth, to the depth, to the depth of the deepness that we went in here to not do it, because I didn't get the depth of it. And I had it up, and for the most part, except for doing the work that I've done, was still taking things personally prior to moving back here. Since my mother's cross has been, it's been a lesson and a blessing, but also it's been sad.
yeah.
But I know that she's been there, and because of this, I can move, and I help in breaking through ancestral patterns. So yeah, the lineage. Yeah, free the lineage. It's chosen to do that crazy stuff. So awesome. Well, I choose to stand in that power.
I hear you, and
not easy.
I honor that witnessing of that statement for sure. Well, thank you all for joining us in this conversation. Be sure to engage, interact, give us feedback. You can engage by subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And
yes, please do.
Be sure you click on the bell to receive notifications of new content and such, to really kind of help support you and engage you in conversation. And be sure to answer the questions of reflection, whichever one that speaks to you, or all three of them. And I will do my best to put those questions in the description box below in case you may have caught it. Or I challenge you to listen back and own your power and write down the question. So there we go. That's it for us today.
Deep bow, my dear warrior.
Deep bow. Deep bow. All right. That's it for us, and we hope to see you guys on the next episode. Thanks for watching and hanging out with us.
Much love.
Deeply appreciate you all.
Peace. Thank you for joining.